I don't have words, except for the ones I'm saying right now. I have a big bag of Sour Patch Kids in my room. I like this new me. I think I'll keep her. What's going on, you guys? It's your huggable hipster here, and welcome back to the show. Welcome back to my show, the Tea Talk Show. The talk of the teas. The teas of the talks. The teas where we spill everything and we uncover the truth about why it is I like coffee so much. But that's not what we're doing today. What we're doing today is we're going to be doing a Q&A actually, a good old Q&A. Demonetized. Now I know why YouTube likes the word demonetized in it, because it has demon in the front, and they can just demonetize. Never mind. Bad joke of the week, bad joke of the year, bad joke of the century. So today's going to be a little bit of a different tea talk. We are going to be going over only one article today, and then for the rest of the time we are going to be diving into a Q&A because there are so many new people that came on the channel. I would love for you guys to get to know me a little bit better. So I had some of you guys ask me some questions so I can give you some answers. So the article that we are going to be discussing will be down in the description below so y'all can read the full thing. But it states here that loot box drop rates to be disclosed for Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo consoles. It goes into saying here that following concerns that the loot box game mechanic encouraged children to gamble, majority console makers have pledged a crackdown. This is kind of like what I was hearing about the entire thing that Walmart is doing, of where they're taking away advertisements and commercials and everything for violent video games in the stores. You know those previews that you get whenever you go past the gaming section of all the games that are popular? Yeah, they're taking down the violent ones. And it was an article that I was even seeing yesterday of where they'll stop the violent video game ads, but they'll still continue to sell guns. So I don't understand what video games have just been a saving grace, I know, for me and a lot of people. So contradicting yourself like this is why I don't work at Walmart. Like, it is such a contradicting company a lot of the time that whenever I see them do stuff like this, it makes me wonder, are they really trying to value the customer and really trying to value the person, or are they just doing this for clout and what's poppin' and something that will get people's attention? Because you're still selling guns. I mean, Walmart still sells guns. They still sell I believe shotguns. They still sell handguns. They still sell a lot of the stuff. They sell a very dangerous fishing equipment, all that kind of thing. And by stopping ads on a certain video game, that's not going to solve the problem. That's going to only make people more pissed off. But that's just a little bit of a side rant. I was seeing that article all over the place, and I thought I might mention it. Now, to get back to the article that we were talking about before, when it states following concerns that loot box game mechanic encourages children to gamble, it all comes from the parents. That's what I always say. It always comes from the parents of what they decide to teach their child is right and wrong. If they have a habit, if the parent, let's say, has a habit of gambling, this child is going to more or less be likely to pick up those same habits. It's nature versus nurture. And you have to teach your child that, hey, in this game universe, this is only for the game universe. This isn't anything about gambling. This isn't anything about doing something that you're not supposed to be doing. And you could even say the same argument for Chuck E. Cheese, that it teaches kids at a very young age to gamble, when in reality kids are only seeing the games. They're not seeing the gambling aspect of it because it's an adult ideal that kids have no concept of yet. So to say that it's teaching kids at a very young age to gamble is a bit presumptuous, because you're assuming that the child even knows what gambling is to begin with. Now, it continues on in the article by stating that 3 major gaming console makers will require publishers to declare the drop rates for any loot boxes on their games for next year amid concerns the future promotes addiction. This is almost as bad as saying that what happened at El Paso, the horrific shooting incident, was because of violent video games. I don't... Oh my God. I'm going to have an aneurysm. I think I might actually have an aneurysm. It also states here that loot boxes are virtual items in which gamers can purchase to obtain unknown items within the games itself, and have been criticized as a form of gambling, especially for children playing these games. And when you have games like Overwatch, Call of Duty, that have these kinds of loot boxes in them, the age of the person ranges, I believe, from 18 to in their 30s. And you see that a lot of people who are playing that game are of the mindset, because they decide to get the game, they purchase the game, and they play the game. And then what happens? Ooh, they enjoy the game. Shocker. Then, the loot box. They get items from that. Wow. Is it a gamble of what you're going to get? Yeah, you don't know what you're going to get, but they are not outright going and gambling and saying, hey, I'm placing my money on this, which technically you can get loot boxes and you can spend your money on different things, which can increase the thrill of like, oh, what am I going to get with this one? What am I going to get with this one? But it depends on the person. It's so individualistic that for me, that's why I'm like kind of irritated that people are still complaining about this in a sense, because whenever you're discussing the idea of a loot box, whenever you're discussing the idea that this could be considered early onset gambling for a lot of people, including those who are kids. Most likely all the games that are being purchased for kids are through the parents. Parents, and I'm saying this to you right now, if you do not want your kids playing these types of video games and you don't want early onset gambling addiction, don't let them have the game. It's that simple. Just say no. I know you want to be best friends with your kids, but it's always not possible. Be a parent, not a friend. Parent your children to understand what gambling is, and that gaming, while it can be a very minute, very diluted version of gambling, it's not technical gambling. This is a way bigger topic than it ever should need to be. And I don't know. I always look at the parents whenever it comes to topics like this, because if you were going to make a loot box, that's awesome. You know, you get certain kinds of items. I think, you know, if I remember correctly, for Overwatch, you have to pay for different types of skins, different types of like bigger loot boxes that cost money. That's fine. That's on the person if they want to spend their cash on a loot box. That's perfectly fine. But calling it an addiction and going that far, I think it's a little unnecessary. And like I said, if you're the one who's purchasing the game and it's on your dime, that's great. That's on your dime. Nobody has business in what you spend your money on and how you conduct your life. If you have a gambling issue, that's on you, honey boo boo. That's not on the rest of us. Go get help. Go to an AA meeting. Go to whatever meeting. Gambling's Addiction Anonymous. Go do something with that. Get your proper help. But if it's just a kid who's getting a game for the first time and doesn't have the proper education of what gambling is or anything like that, they're just going to go into it thinking it's whatever. They're not going to think it's gambling. The next up, we are going to be getting into the Q and AIM, and listen, I've missed doing Q and AIMs so much. Now, the first question comes from @mhardyv1 fan, and he asks, hey Ariel, what type of tea or coffee would you recommend that would blow our minds? For me, I am a Starbucks Keurig kind of gal whenever it comes to coffee. So I would totally recommend either the breakfast blend or the French roast, because those are two of my favorite Keurig blends to have in the morning. Either that or the Wake Me the Hell Up from the Utica blend. Actually, it's a coffee place that is right in Utica, right near where I live. So yeah, either the French roast, the breakfast blend from Starbucks, or the Wake Me the Hell Up. Now, as far as tea goes, I would highly recommend the Tiny Tea Talks. Ever since I was in university, I absolutely loved using Tiny Tea Talks. They not something that really detoxifies you, from what I could tell. It's just a really good tea. And no, I'm not one of those persons that uses tea to lose weight. You can't use tea to lose weight. I don't get that. The next question comes from Completionist AF. Hello, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Is it true that a food exists that can't be improved with either cheese or chocolate?
You how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand. They ask you how you are, you just...
Nope, it is not true. Every food can always be improved by cheese and or chocolate, or use both cheese and The next question is from @BuntsLFC. Peter, I know that username. How are you doing, dude? And he asks, what movie can you watch over and over without ever getting tired of it? There's a lot of movies that I can watch over and over without getting tired of it, but the first one that comes to mind is The Devil Wears Prada. Then the next question comes from Angie Lupus Life. Thank you so much for putting in a question. How are you? I hope you're doing well. And she asks, what's your favorite snack food? Oh gosh, I have a lot of favorite snack foods. Hello. For me, my favorite snack food this is more like a lunch too. Like I have like lunches as snacks. And the next question comes from @DN_Neo969. How are you, dude? I hope you're doing well. And the question that he asks is, so what advice would you have for a small channel who hasn't found their feet yet and knows how they want to go? Also, how to balance it with real life? Okay, that's actually a really good question. The advice that I would have for a small channel who hasn't exactly found their footing yet, is take a couple of days or take a month, however long that you need, and really just discover what your passion is and what you can turn into a business. And that's something that I found out after like a year that I was doing YouTube. Whenever I first started, I was trying to copy and mimic a lot of people, and I was trying to really like, I don't know, follow in other people's footsteps. And when you're doing YouTube, you can't do that. You need to really understand that YouTube is a very independent, self-motivated journey. Nobody's forcing you to do YouTube. Nobody's telling you to do anything. So it's really all on your own accord that you have to do everything. And that's, I think, the hardest thing, because whenever you're trying to find a way or come up with a quote-unquote business plan for your channel and everything, and I'm using marketing and business because that's what one of my minors was in college, so that's the one thing that I know is a good reference to this subject. So that's why I would recommend, I mean, like if you really want to get your footing into YouTube, learn about YouTube, learn about the systems, learn about tags, learn about thumbnails, learn about how to title your videos, learn about, you know, what to put in your description box. Learn all of the technical stuff first. That's the biggest thing. Learn all of the technical stuff first, and then really decide like, hey, do I want to go in this direction? Do I want to go in this direction? And really hone down on your niche of what you want to accomplish with your channel that no one else is doing, because there's a lot of people doing the same thing, and you really want to stand out from the crowd. And with your question on how to balance it with life and everything, you just do it. Like for me, whenever I was almost, you know, homeless and everything like that, and we were finding a place to live, and that's how we ended up here in upstate New York, me and my family, I found a way to do YouTube every day. And this is back when I was, you know, doing 2 uploads a day. This was when I was doing like 2 videos a day at at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. and it was, you know, it was really stressful. It was really difficult at first, because I was like, how am I going to do this? And then I think to myself, 10 years from now it's going to be worth it, or 5 years from now, however long from now it was. And that was my mindset then, because you have to struggle at first in order to reap the rewards later. And the reason I say you just figure it out is because that's the way it is. Like if you have a passion for something, no matter what your circumstances are, you're going to figure out a way to do it no matter what. Like for me, I find a way to balance my gaming channel with writing a book, doing freelance editing work, and helping my family with construction on their home. So for me, it's become easy to balance things because I know what to expect. If I know I'm going to have a day today where I have to upload later, I know I have to wake up earlier and plan things out a little ahead of time, you know? So it just becomes like a balancing act, and it's something that's very individualistic, something that you not necessarily can control a lot of the things that happen in life, and that's okay too. Just, you know, plan ahead. That's one thing that I would say if I'm going to recommend anything, no matter what your situation, is plan ahead for the unknown and the inevitable. And the last question that we have is from Irish Drew. I hope you are doing well today. Thank you so much for putting in your question. And he asks, what do you think are your defining characteristics, and what would you take away and add? Gosh, this is an in-depth question and I like it a lot. So my defining characteristics, I'm honest. I'm like really brutally honest with people, and sometimes a lot of people don't like that. I'm very goofy, and I think that's what carries my YouTube channel to the great success that it's going to be.
Are you sure about that?
I'm very empathetic with a lot of people. I try to put myself in other people's shoes to understand where they're coming from, even if I don't agree with them. Another defining characteristic is army. Like, I don't know why I just thought of that, but for me, another defining characteristic is that I am part of the BTS army. Like, that's just part of my personality now. It's just who I am, that I am a BTS fan through and through, without a doubt. Always gonna be there. Army, ride or die. And the things I would take away and add, I would take away my stubbornness, because I'm obnoxiously stubborn sometimes. Like, I will do things to my defeat, to my death. I will do things that may or may not be the best for me. Some other things I would take away is my need to eat constantly. I don't like that I have to, like, if I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning, I feel hungry. Like, I'm just that kind of person that will go to the fridge at like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, snack on something, still feel hungry when I get up. And what is this? And the things I would add, I would I would probably add not being lazy a lot of the time, because sometimes I can just get lost in watching Shane Dawson's videos and just sit there for like hours on end, or Jeffree Star, or horror videos of, you know, ghost hunters and stuff like that, and I can just sit there for hours, not do shit, and just watch videos. And then I look at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's almost time for dinner. Well then, I would take away the fact that I kind of self-sabotage myself at certain points, of where if I know I want to do something and I don't want anything else to get in the way, even if it's something that I know is going to benefit me, I'm going to sabotage that thing in order for me to just keep doing what I'm doing. And I've done that a few times in my life. So, but yeah, those were the questions, and I hope you guys enjoyed this tea talk, even though it was only one article and we did deal with mostly questions from you guys. I'm really excited that we got to do this Q&A. Hopefully for the new subscribers, it just gives you a little more insight into who I am. If you guys have any more questions that you want me to answer, please be sure to leave them down in the comments below. Also, can I just say as a side note, how many PR emails I am getting for portable fans? Like, honestly, but it's like, I want to get a BT21 portable fan because, you know, I'm an army hoe. What can I say? Because the thing is like, I can understand if you send me PR. Like, I would love to get PR. I would love to be that person that'd be like, oh, hey, I'm one of those YouTubers that gets PR now. Associate it with my channel at least. Do your research. Do your work. I would listen. Before I go, I just want to let you guys know that I am going to be coming back to streaming on Twitch. I had to take a bit of a hiatus to really decide, hey, is this something I want to do? Is just streaming on Twitch something that I really honestly feel like I belong, you know? And it's one of those things of where I didn't even feel like for a little bit that I belonged in streaming on Twitch. I only thought that YouTube was going to be my game, but I really and truly love streaming on Twitch. It's so much fun. I'm primarily going to be a Resident Evil streamer because that's my niche. That's where I feel the most comfortable, and that's where I really know I have a lot of knowledge in the Resident Evil universe, as you guys know. So with that being said, I am going to be streaming every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I really want to be able to have like solid times, but my times for right now, especially while I'm doing like still a collaboration with someone, are going to fluctuate for a little bit. So it is going to be every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but the times still to be determined. But if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below, because I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. EST. Mark that in your calendar, on your face, get it tattooed, just mark it somewhere. Don't get it tattooed. That's actually a horrible idea.
Are you sure about that?
But stay casually nerdy, you guys, and I will talk to you all in the next video. Peace.